better. It is so cool that you would ask me to share some of my research and my thoughts with you this morning. Anytime I have a chance to come back to the green industry, I just love it. I was telling some guys last night, they were sitting in the bar, I was sitting in the hallway. I was yelling. Frankly, I'm not here to get you to agree with me. I don't really care if you agree with me or not. What I am here to do is get you to think about leadership in a little bit of a new light, predicated on the changing nature of today's employees. Now, today's employees are definitively different, but yet leadership styles remain the same. Frankly speaking, if you were to go out and read the top 10 best-selling leadership and management books over the last 5 years, they would be singing out of a different hymnal. Nothing is the same as it was 20 years ago. Remember, that leadership and management is changing in the United States is because of these newfangled wacko employees. Who's with me on that? The media questioning authority figures. How many in here have ever asked an employee to go do A, B, and C, and the employee gives you that look? Or the more brazen ones do what? Hey, I really need for you to go out there and do this, and the employee says, your employees say no. Pay close attention to my seminar. Over here, the employees say what? Why? Now, how many of you, when an employee, you ask them to do something and you ask them why, how many consider that insubordination? Say amen. I mean, by God, I got a VP title, man. I got an office with a conference table. I got an office with a couch. 2 fake FICA trees. I know that's blasphemy at this conference. Right? And a little business card holder that says, I'm a VP. That's why you go do what I say. How many people feel the same way? Okay? Let me tell you where it comes from. You know, when I was growing up, when you looked at the national media interviewing authority figures, who do you think of? Oh, God, this audience. Who do you think of? Think of 60 Minutes or Face the Nation. Who do you think of in national media figures? Yeah, Dan Rather. Even before Dan Rather, you had Walter. Right? Now, Walter Cronkite sits across the desk. I'm going to try and be politically correct here. Walter Cronkite sits across the desk from both Nixon and Kennedy. I'm not making any political comments here. And he interviews them, and never once does he talk about any alleged improprieties or unethical activity. True? Because that whole generation was taught what? When you sit in front of an authority figure, you treat them with respect and authority. Right? So when I was doing my interviews, I interviewed probably close to 350 or 400 before the book, and have probably interviewed another 200 or 300 Gen X and Gen Y since the book. You know, one of the questions I asked them was, when you think of media figures, national media figures, who do you think about? Now, you got to remember, these folks were teenagers in the 1980s, okay? And in the 1980s, when they were in their influential, building their independence streak, and they thought of media figures, I heard names like, anybody want to guess? Barbara Walters and, Geraldo Rivera. That's not media, that's cartoon. And then you heard names like Sam Donaldson. Now think back, if you will, to the 1980s and think of like Face the Nation or Meet the Press. And Sam Donaldson would sit across the table from a senator or a clergyman, you know who they are, that had alleged improprieties. And Sam Donaldson was like a barracuda in heat, right? I mean, there was nothing that was sacred. How about in today's media? When you see them interview political figures, do they go after them or do they respect them? Yeah. So if you're a teenager in the 1980s, or you're a 21-year-old now, and every time you turn on the TV, you see the national media questioning authority figures, pretty soon you start to determine that it is culturally and socially acceptable to question authority. So I submit to you, it's not insubordination at all. It's more of a function of the culture they grew up in. That's why good managers are understanding that you may need to spend a little more time explaining why.
Hi, this is Mike Muetzel. Hey, thanks so much for checking out the video. For more information on the 4 generations at work or change in leadership or some other things that will hopefully make you think, come visit us. www.unlockthemysteries.com. Thanks again.